Welcome back.
Hey.
It's time for new tips.
Yeah.
Split personality and at the 7th mark.
Sounds like fun, informative times.
Let's go. In order, in fact.
Oh my god. Just some random dude. You know what?
I feel like it's got to be delicious in somebody.
Maybe. I mean, I assume so. Alright, let's do it. I see it in movies quite often, but what is it exactly? Multiple personalities are thought to be escapism.
There we go. The mirror's back.
Oh god. Multiple personality disorder is a form of escape. Correct. Yes, very smart, Oishi. The exact mechanism is not fully understood, but it's believed to be a type of defense for the brain to retain mental stability. Hypothetically, poor people imagining themselves as wealthy is a form of escapism, is it not? Is this also a form of multiple personality disorder? I wouldn't go that far, but broadly speaking, one could infer that. It's something that occurs in us all. Does a split personality occur when one cannot tell which is reality and which is the escape? That's difficult to say, Oishi. There are some who agree with that and some who disagree with me, Oishi. There is no consensus. Then is the occurrence of multiple personalities still an unknown phenomenon, something not fully comprehended in the psychiatric field? Unfortunately, that is the current state of things. We can only put our hope in future research. But, it's sort of cool having a split personality. What kind of people get split personalities?
Oishi says, talking to himself in a mirror.
I appreciate the irony of the scene. Recent studies find that those who develop it, or rather those who are more susceptible to developing it, are very handsome and smart and professionally built. Or may be genetically predisposed or may have had abnormal mental development. I don't listen to those people. Some say that childhood abuse increases the chances. Speaking of which, person A here experienced abuse as a child, didn't he? How sad. Person A has 7 different personalities. Let's watch a video of him.
Are we actually about to watch a clip?
I don't know.
No.
Right after these commercials!
God damn it.
So that wasn't Oishi at all, but you know what?
Of course it wasn't.
It doesn't matter. Because they're all Oishi now. Everyone is Oishi.
Everyone's Oishi.
And that's all that matters.
That's Keiichi's real insanity.
Da-da-dee-da-da-doo. At least he's not rapping.
That's true. No,
At least Keiichi and Oishi are not rapping together in some kind of rap single that might exist.
We're not doing that.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We have to.
We're doing it.
We have to.
The 7th mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol.
What's this, Keiichi? So many! There's no reason to get all the different kinds, is there?
I flopped all the different colored cup noodle bowls into the cart.
Cup noodles have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch
No,
of
it's
different-
Keiichi.
You know what?
Take a point. We're
Fucking
taking a point.
take the point. It's fine. I was so excited to keep talking.
I know.
I just like being able to talk on this show.
Yeah, you never get a chance normally.
I don't.
Cup noodles have gotten so elaborate recently, and there are a bunch of different types. I want to try each of them at least once. I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I should at least give it a try.
There's so many different flavors. Keiichi, buy them in the big case. It's cheaper. Don't they normally sell like, you know, you got like a big pack of 20 noodles, but it's like 3 of them are this flavor, 3 of them are that flavor. Is that not a thing in Japan? Do they just not have that?
Maybe variety was only invented in the 90s.
I believe that. I think it was pretty black and white back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I just imagining Keiichi going along this shelf doing the like sweep into the
Yes, sweeping
basket.
him into the bag. Yeah, totally.
Like not even moving his arm, just gliding it along the shelf.
He's having a good old time.
Conveyor belt style.
While Rena watches him from a distance.
Dad faulted.
Get out of life!
We're taking
Take
another
a point
point
for that. Yeah. We're on you, Higurashi.
Well, I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Dad knew there was no point in him butting in.
I knew it'd end up like this. My own father.
Then I'd only get to eat one kind. I'd get bored with it. I was resisting as a formality. I'd already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get.
If you can't pick them, then Mommy will pick for you.
You don't have to rush me.
He's such a baby.
I quickly searched the case of noodles for what I want. Pork bone and ginger, large cup.
God damn it.
I don't know.
Ryukishi, I'm taking another
I still
point.
don't know who it is.
This scene is a crime.
I get... Okay, that's Mum. Pork bone and ginger, large cup. Hey, Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one?
Well, then Mum picked she'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored.
Ooh, salt flavored.
Pork bone is good. I don't want a big bowl of tasteless stuff. I remembered insisting the noodles I picked were the right kind.
Yeah. Oh. No. Oh no. Oh, this is fun. This is different.
This is the first tip we've had like this.
Yeah. Really. It's like a flashback. It's cool.
In this frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around in my surroundings.
Here we go.
So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpened my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching. But of course I couldn't find her.
Where is she?
Then was she spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. My goodness, he's establishing his own writing style.
Oh no! He's aware of Ryukishi's writing style.
That was beautiful.
That was good.
Then I paused my mental replays, a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. It was my shadow.
My little shadow was trying to kill me.
That was a terror unlike any other.
Oh no.
If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on and there was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodles section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly in my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. Realizing it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box. Tip-tap. But listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat.
The thing I love about this is that Ryukishi has chosen to use the inverted word almost as though it's a reflection.
Oh, a reflection of his mental state?
No, of the sound, Ben.
Oh, the
it's
sound.
just reverberation he's hearing.
Oh, I see.
It's beautiful,
It's pretty good.
and I love it.
It's pretty good stuff.
Tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap, pit-pat, pit-pat. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot footsteps growing pit-pat were right behind me, running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I'd heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. That's why I didn't turn around. In that moment, the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I'd run at the time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. And since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That is why it made no sound. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark. A sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move. As I was sewn into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. That's impossible. Now that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved, so you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move, so you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. Yet that sound echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move, like how the presence was moving behind me? I quickly realized I could move. It's just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. It was something unforgivable in this moment in time, but I needed to turn around immediately. As if my entire being was trying to force me to stop, it began to administer a pain like a needle being stuck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Ah! I turned around. At first I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What? What is this? The situation in front of my eyes, it was like a mouth biting an apple and slurping the juice. The way you would do with an apple. My mind was being eaten. Began to munch down, slurping the juices because it was like an apple. Meaning what was in front of me was that sound.
What was it?
I don't know.
We'll never know. What was it?
Achievement unlocked, Detective Onikakushi.
That's all the tips. Oh my god, we're in the last chapter, I guess.
Holy shit.
Have you saved recently?
Why would I need to save in a book we could just skip through?
I just want you to save. It's fine.
Okay.
Just in case.
Just in case something... Just in case something happens.
Nothing could be happening. Don't worry about it. Let's just read the novel and have a good time together.
I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't get any sleep. I tried to stay awake all night, but there are definitely gaps in my memory. I guess I kept nodding off and jerking awake in a panic all night.
We really should have stopped to speak about those scenes, but I'm too excited.
What do you want to say about those scenes? They were scary and I don't like them.
The multiple personalities one is interesting because...
Okay.
I mean, it's obvious how changes in personality are acting on the story.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that it's presented as like a multiple personality disorder there was interesting.
Mm-hmm. You think that might be a thing that's going on here, or?
Yeah, also... The this patient has 7 personalities thing, I thought that was an interesting...
Number?
No, well...
You're gonna focus in on the number?
No, just like an interesting inclusion.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I guess it's just the case of an example maybe to demonstrate that you can have more than 2. Maybe that was the reason it was brought in, but also if like... It wouldn't surprise me if, say, that scene was like set in the future in the tips and was like... looking back on something that's about to happen.
Maybe. Maybe someone's about to suddenly turn to 7 people. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I don't know, dog. What about that other scene? The pit pat and the tip tap.
I mean, the ending is weird. I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know what's behind this there.
He was like, "There's something following me or something." It's weird. Hear this sound.
Yeah, it's
cool.
Definitely, you can definitely see Ryukishi's horror writing coming out a lot here.
Yeah.
Particularly
This is very much a horror novel.
Yeah, particularly the whole use of like the fear of the unknown thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was definitely one of the things that got me hooked in book 1 of Umi. And
That phone call though. That unexpected, unknown phone call.
oh my god.
Who's calling us? Why is this singing? What is happening to me? It's good stuff.
But we're getting it again and I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
He's a good horror writer.
He is.
I'm scared.
I spent all night hugging the metal bat sat on the top of the futon I used to barricade
His door. Jesus Christ.
He barricaded his bedroom door.
Waiting, watching
left
just
the
in case
window.
someone tried to break in through my window.
I left the window wide open.
If I left this spot, someone would break through the door, sending the futon flying and attack me. But if I stopped watching the window, someone would break through the glass and attack me. I tried telling myself I was just being paranoid, but I couldn't sleep. The thought of being so vulnerable scared the living daylights out of me. If sleep meant taking that risk, I didn't need it. It was so much better to just stay awake. At some point during that endless cycle of nodding off and jolting awake, light began to shine outside, but that wasn't it. It wasn't so much the morning as it was just the sun simply having risen. I snuck a peek out through the curtains. Rena was gone. I couldn't see her anywhere, no matter how hard I looked. Finally, I could breathe a deep sigh of relief. The night was finally over. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tired, but I didn't feel like sleeping at the moment. I still had time, but I needed to make my own breakfast, so I'd better get started soon. Skipping school was also an option. With my mom gone, it'd be easy to play hooky. Honestly, I debated it. The risk involved in leaving my house was incalculable.
It's true.
I love this writing.
It's impossible to even comprehend.
So staying holed up here was probably the safest option. But staying here wouldn't solve anything. Uishi-san wouldn't help me without cold, hard evidence. Neither he nor my parents. So unless I found some sort of proof, these relentless nights would never end. I stretched my body, tilted my head back, and closed my eyes just like I did every morning. I regulated my breathing and regained my senses. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Let's go to school. Let's wait until they set their trap for me. But that didn't mean I was going to twiddle my thumbs. I needed to avoid that trap and secure irrefutable evidence. Take note of the plates of any car that drives by. If I see someone suspicious, check their clothes and face. I wasn't just protecting myself, I was preparing myself to turn their attack against them and retaliate. The tension was similar to when two samurai were both aiming to slay each other with a single motion as they drew their katanas. I was not at a disadvantage. I'd have a chance to retaliate. I finally felt a bit of courage growing in my chest. Alright, let's go to school. I tightened my grip on Satoshi's bat. He was the only partner I could count on. Satoshi, please lend me your strength.
Yeah, sure thing, bud.
And entrust your time.
I got your back, bro. Don't worry about it.
Cheers.
I got you. Sorry.
And entrust your dying regrets to me, since you were probably murdered. I'll make sure I dispel them.
Don't worry, I'm right here. I'm in your soul with you, man. In the form of this bat. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be like a buddy cop movie, but a man in a bat.
With renewed resolve, I checked the clock. It was still early. You've ruined it. You've ruined the tension.
Get fucked. I couldn't handle it.
Of course, I was going to school by myself today. See, the thing is I'm having a lot of fun here. Ben is like actually stressing out next to me. He's like,
I'm so done.
He's like playing with his jacket and shit.
I don't want to be here anymore. I hate it. I hate this novel.
Of course, I was going to school by myself today. If I didn't want to run into Rena or Mion, I needed to leave now.
Let's go back to Imaneko.
Yeah, so instead of being nervous, then you can just cry.
Well, then I can just laugh constantly. Except for the parts where I cried.
Exactly.
Point is, keep going.
No Nakukarani.
Fucker. You fucker.
The shattered fragments of the cupboard were still strewn all over the entryway. Right. I meant to clean that up last night, but never got around to it with the phone call and everything. If my parents came back and saw this while I was at school, I'd never hear the end of it.
You should clean it up.
Still, I'd be wasting time if I cleaned it up right now. And considering what would happen if I ran into Rena or Mion,
Clean it up.
it wouldn't be too late to clean it up after I got back home. Making extra certain the doors were locked, I left the house.
Thank goodness we got the peaceful music.
Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it.
You are so...
He's just having a good old time.
So tense right
just
now.
having-
This is actually incredible.
I hate this.
My uniform was still covered in mud from yesterday, so I left it in the washer. Today I was going to go to school in a tracksuit. By wearing a different outfit this morning, my mind was forced to accept that today was different from yesterday.
Everything's fine.
I had a hunch. Today might be the day I get killed.
No.
Keep your guard up, Keiichi, my bar.
No, my bro, please.
The only one who gets to decide if today is my last is me.
My sweet baby boy.
K1!
K1, traditional words, best boy, inspiration to us all. You'll be fine.
Really loving these slow transitions.
It's good. It means we have less time between dialogue.
It means there's so much more tension.
Yeah.
I spent the morning practicing my swing like it was my natural routine.
Yeah, it's only natural. It's fine.
After a while, Rena arrived at school. Our eyes met, but we said nothing. Rena said nothing about last night. As if it never happened. But I could see those events were real by the wounds carved into her fingers. I just heard her telling Sadako and the others that the bandages were from hurting herself in the kitchen. God,
Rena is so good.
She's the fucking nicest person in the world. I love her.
Oh my goodness.
I love her.
It's like, the thing is too, right, is given what happened to Satoshi, she probably knows exactly what's up and she's like, I can't make this worse.
No, it's fine. It's gonna be fine.
But of course, Keiichi's insanity is just gonna drag her being helpful even worse.
I can neither confirm nor deny anything.
Though it wasn't like it bothered me. The details that Oishi-san shared about Rena's incident before her transfer played vividly in my mind.
He didn't even tell you anything new. This is the best part. I mean, I guess there was the thing about the eye.
Someone's eye was damaged and they didn't even press charges.
But it's like,
She didn't even... What happened?
it's just nothing.
She's a cute ideal girl.
Now that I knew about it, I couldn't even dream of Rena as a cute, ideal girl.
She is, though. Ideal. Rena is goals.
Kei-chan, I see you're still aiming for the nationals.
It was Mion. I'd already sensed her approach, so I wasn't that surprised. Oh, Mion. If you understand, then leave me alone. I'm busy practicing. I gave her a curt reply without my usual jokes. Then I gave the bat an even larger swing, tacitly keeping Mion from getting any closer.
Hey, Kei-chan, take it easy.
I think Mion got the message, but she still urged me to give it a rest. Homeroom's not that far off, is it? Just let me finish practicing. I swung the bat even harder as a sign of my refusal.
Kei-chan, when did you get into baseball?
Just recently.
Recently? You mean yesterday?
Don't ask if you already know.
Oh dear. It's a very unsportsmanlike reply.
You're distracting me. Go away. I ignored Mion and kept swinging. Normally she'd get mad or bored and leave if someone gave her the cold shoulder like this, but Mion just stood there waiting patiently for me to stop swinging. I didn't sense any hostility, but we were at school in plain view. I doubt she'd suddenly attack me. Or was that too naive?
Yeah, with her weapon that she's swinging around. You know?
Yeah, I mean, she brings her gun with her everywhere.
It's true.
Still, I was starting to get tired. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to take a break and hear her out. You need me for something, right? What is it? Sweat poured from me as I stopped swinging. I noticed my shoulders were heaving as I breathed. I cursed my lack of exercise. At this rate, I might not be able to move as needed when the time came. I should probably keep practicing my swings to build stamina in addition to the excuse for carrying the bat around with me.
Well, it's nothing important. If you're tired, I can ask again later.
Now is fine. I'm only dealing with you right now because I judged this situation to be safe. Talking you alone and away from others, that's out of the question.
Well,
Mion was uncharacteristically trying to choose her words, but unlike Keiichi-san, it didn't look like she was going to talk about something I'd rather not hear. Mion was puzzled, trying to find the right thing to say, but then she gave a hearty laugh to break out of that mire.
This old man's just no good at this stuff. Having a poor vocabulary hurts.
What's this all of a sudden? If you have something to say, just say it.
Stop it. Stop that swinging.
She got straight to the point. Her request was so frank I didn't understand it for a moment. I'd already stopped swinging to listen to her, hadn't I? I just stopped, didn't I?
I never heard Rikushi repeat himself.
Shh.
That's not what I meant.
Attention.
I want today to be the last day you swing that bat. I'm sorry.
Took me some time to understand what she was asking for. What's wrong with swinging a bat? Why? It's none of your business, is it? I'm not bothering anyone, am I?
You are.
Mion said it flat out. This didn't make any sense. That was really irritating. When did I bother anybody? Mion was at a loss for words, but she finally made up her mind and spoke. She stuttered as she said it.
Because, Kei-chan, that's someone else's bat. You shouldn't borrow it without permission.
It was left behind by a student who transferred, right? I'm just borrowing it until he comes back for it.
Yes, he transferred.
Mion grew uncharacteristically flustered. That made it all too clear that his transfer was a lie. But strange, isn't it, for the older brother to transfer by himself, while his little sister stayed behind? Mion couldn't hide her reaction as my words shook her up.
Kei-chan, you knew?
Satoshi Hojo, Sadako's older brother, right? The one demoned away last year. Unable to respond to that, Mion fell silent. Rena asked the same thing. Why did you start swinging that bat? She told me Satoshi did the same thing, practicing his swings right before he went missing. So is this some kind of omen for Oyashiro-sama's curse? Shh. Mion panicked and looked around.
Please, Kei-chan, don't mention Oyashiro-sama so recklessly. I don't believe in him, but the others very much do. Rena especially.
Dangerously so.
Anyway.
Oh, he has an angry face.
You're scaring everyone. If you're just fooling around, then stop it. You have to stop acting like Satoshi.
I was the only one who was scared. Who do I have to thank for taking up this bat in the first place? Still unsettled me knowing that my actions were overlapping with Satoshi's. But the one thing if someone suggested it, but I thought I was making my own decisions.
Keiichi, right? Yeah, Keiichi.
I'll say this now. I don't know anything about Satoshi after all. You didn't tell me anything about him.
We didn't mean to hide it.
You were hiding the incidents that happen every year, weren't you?
That's because we didn't want to
Didn't want to scare me? That's your reason for leaving me out?
No, we didn't mean to.
I asked you directly if something happened at the dam, didn't I? And you told me nothing happened.
That's not true. It's not what she said.
What'd she say?
Well, she said
what happened?
She said that there was a big stoush between all the villagers and the government,
It's true.
and that they managed to resolve it.
It's true. Some fighting. Good
someone-
old-fashioned teamwork.
When someone was dismembered and murdered, you lied to me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lie to you.
Friends don't hide things from each other, right? Isn't that right? Then you all aren't my friends.
Kei-chan, we...
Mion looked helpless and flustered. Was I imagining the tears in her eyes? I never could have imagined Mion acting like this. Oh, by the way, those get well mochi you brought to the other day, they were good. I thought I was gonna bleed. Who did it? You or Rena?
Me.
She admitted it so easily. Couldn't help but be surprised at how easy that was. You could have killed me. How could you do that to a friend?
But it was just a little prank.
Mion gave me a wry smile mixed with confusion, causing even more anger to well up inside me. You think that was a prank? I grabbed Mion by the collar and lifted her up.
Oh boy.
I wasn't the same as putting Tabasco sauce in a piece of mochi.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Shush it.
That's exactly what it is.
I can either confirm or deny.
I love this.
It was a needle, a sewing needle. If I'd swallowed that and lodged it in my throat, what did she think would happen? Mion's face froze as her body rattled in fear. This wasn't the Mion Sonozaki I knew anymore. Anyways, you're not my friend. There's no reason for me to listen to someone who's not my friend. So just leave me alone for a while. Got it? Mion wasn't replying anymore. Won't be that easy to erase me, you know. The cops have been onto you from the start. So don't think you can make me disappear like you did Satoshi. I said it clearly. This was my declaration of war. I think you guys are suspects in the previous incidents too. I also know you've spent a bunch of time with the cops ever since the anti-dam movement. Don't think you can hide it from me. Got that?
How did you know?
Mion stood there with a dumbstruck look on her face. That was when I heard the principal ringing the bell for school. It was time for morning homeroom. Let's go. The class representative needs to be there, right? At that moment, for the first time, I realized Mion was sobbing as tears ran down her cheeks.
You're so mean, Keiichi.
Me. I wanted to console her, but I shut my mouth. I had no need to feel guilty. I'm going. Don't be late for homeroom. I left Mion still shaking as I turned around to head for the entrance. I had no idea how troubling it was to make a girl cry. Right behind my back, I could hear her muttering. It was a very faint mutter as she was speaking to herself.
It's interesting though. The needle in the mochi when it was, I guess, Tabasco, which I wonder is.
That's what you think is going on, sure.
That's what I think is going on. I normally associate overspiced food with the sensation of glass in one's mouth. That's normally how I hear it described.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
Nobody's ever told me that hot sauce or whatever tastes like glass.
No, not that it tastes like glass, but the
whatever.
sensation of overly hot things
I
is
don't
like
know
chewing
who's
on
been
glass.
telling you this. Was it Jimmy the Skink?
It was Jimmy the Skink.
I thought so. That motherfucker. He's been in some trouble in the neighborhood.
In fact, the first time time he ever raised this issue with me was the time he got back from a trip to Japan.
He's been to Japan?
He's been to Japan twice.
Oh my god, he's basically an expert. We should bring him on the show.
He would go insane.
He would, yeah.
So that's how it is.
Wait, what? Who's speaking?
That was me on.
Oh, so that's how it is.
Yeah.
Huh? She wasn't saying it to anyone. It was Mion talking to herself. It was a sobbing voice that had a kind of giddy cursing tone. I inadvertently stopped and turned back towards her.
So it was that bastard. He leaked it all to Keiichi.
She balled up her fists as tears continued to rain down. She glared at a spot on the ground with a terrifying yet smiling face, cursing. A chill ran down my spine from that demonic expression. This transformation, Mion's transformation, was different from Rena's.
I should have killed him back then. If he got the mercy I showed him just because he was going to retire this year.
Oh boy.
Retiring this year? Was she talking about Oishi-san?
Oh boy.
Damn it, I'm going to kill that damn old man. Ugh.
I felt like the air itself had begun distorting. With Mion at the center, the world had begun to twist and spiral, bending, whirling. This was the first time I'd known, no, experienced such a visage.
Oh, thank goodness.
Hard cut.
Time for classroom antics.
Yay! Fun times.
Yes. Oh, it's exactly
It's
what we
gonna
need.
be great.
So
gonna
good.
play cards and charades and have
So much fun with
have a
friends.
I love this game. It's such a fun, happy time.
Rise attention.
Mion made up an excuse for her red eyes by saying there was something wrong with her contacts. 1-800-CONTACTS. After that,
Shush you.
neither Rena nor Mion spoke to me for the rest of the day. Neither Sadako nor Rika-chan looked me in the eye. Strangely, I didn't feel hurt. Everything had just went back to the way it was. The month since I transferred here had been almost too much fun. That was all. School was supposed to be something like this to begin with. I should have disliked that feeling, but today it felt oddly refreshing.
Beautiful boy, Ryukishi.
Yeah. Kill me. Just fuck.
The bell rang, sounding the end of the monotonous school day, which had felt so tense yet so dull. Since it would cause a lot of unpleasant memories if they asked me to join in the club activities, I promptly started preparing to go home without even looking at them. I stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag, wrapped my hand around Sadashi's now familiar bat, and began heading towards the entrance.
Good plan. Let's go. Let's get out of this hole before someone can try and stop us.
I was assailed by both the exhausting relief that nothing had happened today and the tiring possibility of the same thing repeating tomorrow. But deep down inside me, far beneath in the recesses of my heart, I knew. This would be the last day of this cycle. I couldn't tell how the ending would be. Whether it would be as I wished it to end, or if it would end as I hoped it would. Regardless, in my current state, there was something more important than how things would end. Something I wanted to know. Why did I have to be killed? How did it come to this? Why? For what purpose? The sunlight was relentless. The sun, the heat, even the air. They wouldn't give me answers.
You know, there was a time where I would have thought that this was, like, about to just end here, and then go to, like, tips, Keiichi died in this place! But this is not intense enough.
No.
This is nowhere near intense enough.
This is a build.
Or it could be that the cries of the Higurashi were desperately trying to tell me something.
Oh boy, he's gonna say the thing?
The motif.
Somewhere mixed in with the shrieks, Tomitaki-san and Sadashi were also probably trying to tell me
Is
something.
he gonna say the thing?
I simply haven't been able to realize it yet. When I do realize it, I wonder if I'll be amongst the Higurashi, fruitlessly crying to the next victim.
Yeah.
Glancing down at my feet, I saw a Higurashi on its back, spasming weakly.
Oh god.
Wow, that's imagery.
Yeah, it's good.
There was still so much of the summer left, yet this one was already chirping its last song. I couldn't tell what it was saying, no matter how hard I listened.
There it is. There's the fucking line.
But I had to try. I had to try listen to what it was desperately trying to tell me.
Can't hear it. It's everywhere, but you can't figure it out.
At that moment, the shrills of the Higurashi ceased all at once, as if they had held together, fearing the person who'd brought them their dreadful fate had arrived. There was no mistaking it. A presence was approaching. The sound of footsteps was almost non-existent. If the Higurashi hadn't warned me by ending their chirping, I wouldn't have noticed. My exhaustion left me in a heartbeat. In its place, a rush of adrenaline that sharpened all of my senses. I was just barely able to hold back that creeping, suffocating feeling of horror. It wasn't something I could hold back for long, but in this moment when I needed to be razor sharp, I was able to retain my composure. I wasn't going to shout like I did yesterday. I hid myself calmly among the trees, waiting for my pursuer's shadow. Could I get them to pass by me? No, since I was able to hear their footsteps, they were probably also able to hear mine. They might have already been able to tell that I had hidden myself and was holding my breath. The person tailing me, was it Rena just like yesterday? If it was Rena, I wouldn't hold back. I could just yell at her and make her go ahead like yesterday. If it wasn't Rena, it would depend on how they acted, I guess. The footsteps ambled closer. I swallowed, wiped my clammy hands on my pants, and readjusted the grip on the bat. I could tell the fear I'd beaten back was once was now waiting for another opening to come at me. Who could it be? I peeked up from behind the tree at the person following me.
Hey.
My imagination hadn't led me astray. It was Rena.
She's just standing there.
There was a bit of relief as I realized it was someone I knew, but that feeling left me in an instant. This wasn't the same Rena that I knew. Her eyes were dark and lifeless, but her mouth appeared as if it was carved into a crescent. Yes, it looked like she was grinning slightly. And in her right hand was an axe.
Thank goodness!
Yay!
Finally!
She's got a big old cleaver boy.
Oh my goodness, I thought we were never gonna get to see murder with axes.
I hid myself behind the tree once again and recalled the unbelievable sight I just saw. What was that just now? The embodiment of terror laid bare. Baseball, practicing my swing. There are tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat.
These are all still lines that reference earlier lines, and it's so good.
It's very well written.
It's so...
horrifyingly well constructed, one might say.
There are tons of excuses for me to be carrying a bat, but for that axe, there's no excuse for that. Literally none. We've never used an axe for a reasonable reason in this novel.
No.
An axe just like that.
Keiichi-kun, are you playing hide and seek? I wonder.
My heart was pounding, hard enough that I had trouble breathing. What little composure I had been able to hold on to was now crushed. In its place, cold sweat gushed forth, covering my entire body, letting me know precisely what kind of emotion had taken hold. Not good, not good, not good. I wasn't able to hide myself completely. She already knew I was here.
Were you trying to scare me? I wonder.
I decided it would be better to reveal myself now since there was still space between us than to allow Rena to come any closer. I adjusted my grip on the bat again and readied myself mentally and stepped out from behind the tree.
I found you, Keiichi-kun.
Rena was pleased that she found me, eliciting a mysterious giggle. Her mouth was smiling, but her eyes told me she was displeased by the fact I had been hiding. Those eyes, they were just so empty, my legs began to quiver. Not good. In the pit of my stomach, some sort of viscous, hot and cold substance began spreading around.
Ew.
If I allowed it, that substance would slip into my bloodstream and undoubtedly freeze all the organs in my body. Not good, not good. I'll be devoured by Rena at this rate. Strike back. Don't lose. What is it? I blustered, hiding behind my bravado.
The bravado of shouting,
What is it?
What is it? Oh!
But Rena didn't flinch one bit.
Just the same as Keiichi-kun. I'm heading home.
And what about that axe?
Then what about that bat you're holding?
I'm practicing my swing.
Then I'm treasure hunting.
Rena gave a flippant explanation as to why she had such a fearsome weapon. Treasure hunting.
At the treasure mountain near the dam site, I found a new cute thing, so I needed this to dig it out.
How could I believe that?
You wouldn't believe it, would you?
Rena's laugh was obviously very strange. I'd seen Rena's transformation many times before, but the one today was completely different. Like her mischievous tone and the shrewd glint in her eyes. It wasn't something that roundabout. I'm not sure what to say, it was just so obvious.
Wait, Keiichi-kun.
Rena didn't stop walking, even as she let out that eerie laugh. Whenever Rena got too close to me, I'd scurry away and turn back towards her. This cycle repeated over and over. No matter how you looked at it, I was being chased by Rena and was trying to escape. Don't follow me!
I can't do that. My house is this way after all.
When I met with Rena on this road yesterday, she cowered and trembled as she followed my commands. But today was different. Rena didn't show a hint of trepidation. Actually, wasn't I the one who was cowering? If the way home for Rena and me was the same, that's fine, I'd just change my route. That'd work out, wouldn't it? I turned onto a side street I'd never been down and knew little about. But Rena saw me do that and followed me while laughing. Why? Why? Aren't you going home? Then just go home down the street you normally do. Why would you follow me down this weird little side road? These thoughts screamed in my head, eventually spilling out of my mouth. Why are you following me? The tone of my voice was already tinged with terror.
Because I want to talk to Keiichi-kun. Keiichi-kun wants to talk to Rena too, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
I don't want to talk about anything with you.
That's a lie, isn't it? There's something you want to ask me about, isn't there?
Not at all. I have nothing to talk to you about.
That's a lie, isn't it?
It's not a lie.
Lies!
Rena's scream echoed, startling some nearby birds into flight. I cringed in fear. The only other thing I could do was increase my pace.
Let's talk, Keiichi-kun. Talk.
I was running down this unfamiliar and deserted street.
Doesn't Keiichi-kun have something he's worried about?
Nothing at all. Not worried about anything.
Lies!
Even though I was running, even though Rena was walking, why wasn't I getting any farther away?
I know. I really do know. You're scared, aren't you, Keiichi-kun?
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of anything.
Lies!
My breathing grew heavy and it felt like my legs were giving out from beneath me. Rena wasn't even breaking a sweat.
I'll listen. This time I'll listen.
I had no idea what she was talking about or what exactly she wanted to do.
This time I'll listen. It'll be different from the time with Satoshi-kun.
When she said Satoshi's name, I turned back for a moment. But even as she did that, Rena was still advancing. As I did that, rather. I couldn't afford to stop.
Satoshi-kun was worried too. It looked like he was having such a hard time, but I didn't listen. I was so sad.
Where did this street connect to? All these twists and turns, up and down. It's hard to believe this was even remotely in the direction toward my house. My sense of direction had long since gone out the window.
I really regretted it when Satoshi-kun transferred out. I thought that if I had just listened, he may not have transferred out. I really regretted that.
The road led me deeper into the forest. Wasn't I getting farther away from the village the more I ran? I lost more and more of my composure the more I thought about it. But despite this realization, my inner self was still disturbingly calm.
So you see, I vowed that if ever there was someone struggling like Satoshi-kun did, I'd save them. I don't want to see any more transfer out again.
Damn it. What does transfer even mean? Won't let you transfer me? Won't end up the same as Satoshi?
Come on, Keiichi-kun. Talk to me. I'll be able to understand you, Keiichi-kun. I'm your ally.
I started wheezing out of breath. My lungs were so hot that they felt like they were going to explode and my heart was beating as hard as it possibly could. I should have practiced running instead of my swing. I couldn't even afford to scoff at that stupid thought.
If Keiichi-kun doesn't have anything to worry about, he'll go back to normal. Everyone will be back to being friends and we can enjoy club activities again. Next time we'll team up and beat Mi-chan.
Yeah, how much fun would that be? I couldn't even imagine how much I'd wished I could turn back the clock on these past few days. Well, if only this page gave us some information about where things are going.
I know what you mean.
Predictions, Ben. We're going to go back to the start, and Mi-chan's going to be the one that's loopy next time. That's what this page is saying.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's what it's saying.
You never know. You could be nice to me again, too. I want to go searching for treasure again. It's time I'll prepare a nice lunch. Actually, we could just go right now. Let's go to the dance site together. I'll show you the cute thing I just found. I'm sure you'll like it, too.
My footsteps made pathetic flapping sounds as my legs wobbled and faltered. Out of my heels, Rena's steps were sharply breaking twigs underfoot. I had to accept it. I was on the run, being chased by Rena. If she caught me, it was all over. I realized it instinctively. I couldn't even begin to think of what the end would entail. Just that if I was caught, it was all over. That's all I knew. It didn't matter how much it was going to end. I wouldn't let it end. Not without knowing anything. Not yet. The momentary lapse was all it took. Of all the things that could have happened, my knees buckled underneath me and I crumbled towards the ground. I tried to stand frantically, urging my legs to respond. I used my bat as a makeshift cane to prop myself up, but Rena was already standing right in front of me. Compared to me, out of breath and utterly exhausted, Rena was so cool and composed that she could have froze the air around her. She wasn't breathing hard at all. Rather, I couldn't even sense if her heart was beating.
Are you afraid of something? I wonder. It's not like you to tremble, Keiichi-kun.
Her expression looked almost affectionate. Those soulless eyes and that mask of affection. As she admonished me for trembling, Rena's hands deftly slipped over her head. The blur of arms as they moved made me feel as if I was staring at the godliness of the thousand-armed Buddha.
Shout out to Buddha.
Then as both of her hands met above her head, the axe she held came into focus. I stared up at it in disbelief. It's all I could do. Tell me, what happened to Satoshi? Rena stayed like that with the axe raised above her head, solemnly opened her mouth, as if she was expressing a farewell to a friend she was never to see again. That cruel scenario resided somewhere in her actions.
I told you. Satoshi-kun transferred out.
Enough of that transfer crap. Means demon away, doesn't it? You can tell me now, can't you? Who made Satoshi disappear? Was it you, Mion, or someone in the village? Answer me! I became frantic the more I screamed, but Rena did nothing but maintain the smile frozen on her face.
I have no idea what Keiichi-kun is talking about.
And I'll say it in a way so you do. Who is the perpetrator of this chain of mysterious deaths?
You seem to be confused, Keiichi-kun.
What?
There is no human perpetrator. Everything is by Oyashiro-sama's will.
Is an Oyashiro-sama's curse just superstition? You believe in that too?
It's not about believing or not. Oyashiro-sama exists.
There it is! I've been waiting for that one.
Same. Period. Oyashiro-sama exists. Yeah, it's a good word, isn't it?
Rena's gaze grew even more gelid. The ferocity of her stare was so intense, not allowing me to question anything. There's just no way.
This is like word for word. This is beautiful.
Shh, continue.
There's just no way something like Oyashiro-sama could exist.
Good, isn't it? You don't believe in Oyashiro-sama.
There's no way I could believe it. There's no way it could exist.
It exists. Oyashiro-sama exists. Keiichi-kun should have felt it personally.
I never felt something like that.
Keiichi-kun, haven't you ever felt someone apologizing to you before? Constantly on top of that.
the noise from the outside world disappeared, only Rena's voice resounded loudly and terribly.
Look at all this red. My goodness. You see, until you forgive them, they'll always be with you. At school, at home, at your bedside.
I couldn't understand what Rena was saying.
It came to me too. Oyashiro-sama did. That's why I transferred and came back to Inamizawa.
I don't understand. What does transfer even mean? What was Rena saying?
Hasn't Oyashiro-sama come to you as well, Keiichi-kun? I'm probably the only one who can confide in. I won't let you transfer out, okay?
Rena's demented laughter clanged around inside my head. Was Rena saying Oyashiro-sama came to her as well? That's right. Last night I'd heard about that when I asked about Rena. And the time before when Uishi told you as well.
Please keep this confidential. Also, part of this may be speculation, not all of it may be true. Are you still interested?
I really feel like flashing back through the immediately previous chapter
It's a bit weird.
Is a bit strange. Unless something is like...
Unless there's something different here.
Yeah.
Neither the victims nor the school filed a complaint, so there's no preliminary report. Basically, the police hadn't intervened in this matter, so all of these details are just what I heard from those involved, meaning it's not that credible.
You said there were victims. Didn't Rena just break all the windows?
No, Rena Ryugu had attacked 3 boys, using a metal bat. 2 of them made it out with only bruises, but the other had been injured so badly that one of his eyes was permanently damaged.
There we go, this is more interesting.
Wouldn't that be considered assault? Shouldn't the police have arrested her?
For whatever reason, the victim never pressed charges. There was no report to the police, so...
They're beaten with a bat and suffered significant injuries. Normally there would be a criminal investigation. Why didn't they press charges?
I tried asking the 3 male victims for their side of the story, but they were all reluctant. It's hard to say, but they were all afraid. Even after she had transferred schools.
Oishi-san, could you summarize it starting from the beginning? Rena hit people while she broke the windows. Or was it she started breaking the windows after she got bored of hitting people? They sounded similar, but the meanings were drastically different.
On an undisclosed date, Rena Ryugu was conversing with 3 male students, close friends of hers, near the pool storage shed.
Who were those 3?
I can't reveal their names, but they were close to Rena Ryugu, and it seems they were a group of friends. She was the lone girl in their group.
So wasn't that strange that the 4 of them were together? So what happened?
I don't know the reason why. She took the baseball team's bat that was in the pool storage shed and beat the 3 of them down, one after the other.
What? There are no witnesses. This was an account pieced together by the information given at the time of the incident. One day after school, Rena and 3 male students were at the pool storage shed talking together. They weren't seeking help, rather they usually met up there. It appears it became a heated discussion. That time Rena underwent a change.
Oh boy.
The change was so abrupt the 3 of them didn't comprehend that it was happening. Then taking the metal bat, she attacked her friends one after the other. Leaving her friends covered in blood with gashes on their heads, she made her way towards the school building. Then she broke the glass windows one after the other. A few minutes later, a teacher appeared on scene and subdued her. What was this change Rena underwent?
What matches up in the statements from the 3 was a sudden change. They pointed there was a transformation.
Transformation? I could also recall Rena's transformation. I'd seen that change many times before. It was different from the usual Rena that I couldn't help but believe it was someone else who looked like Rena. That transformation they're talking about, had it happened before?
No, there was nothing like that. As far as I could find out, in the medical history and past, there was nothing like that.
Does that happen often, where people suddenly change like Rena did?
Of course it does. There are plenty of psychological phenomena that could cause something like that.
And you're saying there was a dormant element in Rena that caused that transformation?
I cannot say that for certain, but according to the statements of her friends, it's hard to believe she had such a side to her.
Kind, caring, and adorable. Even before she transferred here, she was probably pretty popular in school like she was now. That girl transforming suddenly and assaulting me with a bat. Who could imagine such a thing? Nobody could have seen it coming. I myself sometimes believe that I was mistaken for thinking that that was Rena even now. Then what happened after that?
There was a hospital right across from the school, so the three of them were carried in and treated quickly.
What about Rena? What about the police? Why wasn't there a criminal investigation?
You see, the police can't get involved unless they are called.
Even though one was badly injured with permanent damage, why didn't they file charges?
That's what caught my attention as well. Either some threat or pressure was placed on them, or they had a reason they couldn't file charges even if they wanted to.
I'm talking about you, after all. Of course you looked into it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but I told you at the beginning, didn't I? That the victims were all very reluctant to talk. They didn't want to touch on the matter, or rather, they didn't want to be involved.
Reluctant to talk, didn't want to touch it, didn't want to be involved. Resembled the villagers here in Oyashiro-sama's curse. Did the teacher at that school tell you anything?
His school is hallowed ground. You could say they tend to keep scandals under wraps. I didn't have a search warrant, so I had to tread lightly, you see.
And there was no comment from the school?
No, he denied the incident even happened. It's just... Yeah, sure. 3 male students were carried in for blunt force trauma that day. That's all there was in the hospital records.
Victims didn't speak, the school denied it happened, and you don't know anything at all.
Yeah, I know nothing other than the incident itself had taken place. The victims also wish this incident to be kept from the public, so if you and I both forget about my brother-san, then this incident will probably just fade away.
For a brief period we sat in silence. First glance it looked like a simple assault case. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The depths were obscured by roiling waves sinking quietly into the void, as if it never existed to begin with.
After that, she was suspended by school, and during that time she underwent psychiatric counseling.
Did you hear anything from that doctor?
Again, they were very professional in regards to their ethics, or at least very tight-lipped.
Nothing even after you showed them your badge?
I was told to get the warrants. The badge itself has no legally binding authority after all.
And how did you know that Rena confessed that it was Oyashiro-sama who did it?
There was a nurse I asked in that department. She agreed to help me just from showing her my badge.
And what did she say? Turns out the nurse hadn't heard everything. Apparently all she remembered was what she overheard from inside the room. The nurse said that at the time Rena Ryuga was very calm and mild-mannered. It's more like she was confessing her sins at church than a counseling session. She spoke with her mother there for some of it, but partway through her mother was asked to leave, so it became a private counseling session between just the doctor and Rena for a while. The part with Oyashiro-sama, when did that pop up?
Partway through, she screamed the name suddenly. That startled the nurse, and that's why she started listening in. It was Oyashiro-sama!
Rena suddenly shouted that. I had no idea what was said before that, so I had no idea what the meaning behind it could have been. The doctor calmly and collectedly asked Rena to have a seat. What?
You want to be his doctor?
Sure, what is this Oyashiro-sama you speak of?
Gently, ever so gently. The fundamentals of counseling were believing what you were told.
Whoever abandons Hinamizawa will be hunted down by Oyashiro-sama. And they've finally gotten to me.
That's the town you lived in before you moved here. Isn't that right, Ryugo-san?
I didn't want to move, but because of my mom and dad's circumstances, we had to. But Oyashiro-sama wouldn't allow it.
Yes. Ryugo-san must have had lots of friends in Hinamizawa. Even now, you must be missing them dearly, don't you think?
I want to go back to Hinamizawa. No, it's not that I want to go back. I have to go back. I should have gone back much sooner, but now it's too late. Oyashiro-sama has come.
Oyashiro-sama is the name of the god in Hinamizawa, isn't that right?
Everyone knows it's Hinamizawa's guardian deity, and if you ever try abandoning Hinamizawa by leaving, you'll incur his wrath.
You had moved quite a while ago, didn't you? And it was just now that the god arrived, is that what you're saying?
You might not believe me, but Oyashiro-sama exists.
That nurse was then asked by another nurse to do something and left the room. That was all she remembered. That it was Oyashiro-sama's doing, right?
I do believe there is that kind of superstition in Hinamizawa. that if you leave the village, then you incur Oyashiro-sama's wrath. You should be familiar with this part, Mayabara-san.
I knew very well that those scorned by the village incurred. To hinder the dam construction project, they cursed the construction foreman to his death. And the following year, Sadako's parents, supporters and leading advocates for the dam, were cursed to their death. But this was the first time I've heard of the curse incurred by leaving the village. This is my first time hearing that. I can understand outside threats being cursed by village, but why also villagers who leave? Normally people who leave villages aren't supposed to be cursed, right? It's a bit strange to say it, but I could see it as a rule that people who come in are the ones who would be cursed. Far from Jupiter, far from his thunder. Curses weren't something to chase after people that leave, were they? Ushi-san pondered for a bit on the other end of the receiver and then began speaking again.
Well, I told you of long ago when Hinamizawa was called Onigafuchi, didn't I?
I recalled hearing that. Long ago, Hinamizawa was feared and respected as the village of ogres.
The villagers at the foot of the mountains worship the ogres. So, Onigafuchi was held ground that you could never enter. It came to be said that if you entered carelessly, you were cursed by Oyashiro-sama.
Those who set foot in Onigafushi, in other words, Hinamizawa, would be cursed. I could understand that. I know that, but for leaving also to be no good, that's...
Also, the ogres, you see, they were being strictly watched by Oyashiro-sama, so they would not enter into our world. In other words, Oyashiro-sama probably restricted interaction between Onigafuchi and the rest of the world.
I see. I finally understood what sort of thing Oyashiro-sama was. So basically, Oyashiro-sama is more like a warden than a protectorate deity, I guess. Trying to keep this place isolated from the rest of the world.
I guess that's how it would seem. I'm sorry, I don't know very much myself. This is mostly what was passed on to me from my grandmother.
I could understand it a bit better if it was like that. Those who came to Hinamizawa would be cursed, and those who tried to leave would also be cursed. So because Rena originally lived in Hinamizawa and moved away, she fulfilled the requirement for being cursed. So that means because Rena moved away against its wishes, she was cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Is that what that adds up to?
In short, that seems to be what it points to, I guess. As a matter of fact, soon afterwards, I did move back to Hinamizawa after all.
Those who abandoned Hinamizawa and left were cursed. But then why only Rena? Shouldn't Rena's parents also have been guilty of the same transgression by moving away and having been cursed? Also in this day and age in Japan, shouldn't there be a lot of people coming and going? If every single one of them was cursed, then it'd be insane. But in reality, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. At most, there would be one person dying and disappearing on the day of the Watanagashi. I don't like saying at most, though.
Well, anyways, there's a lot I still don't know. Even if it was Oyashiro-sama's curse, it doesn't add up as to why her classmates, the victims who were beaten with a mental bat, wouldn't press charges. You don't think the victims were cowering because they believed that a terrible curse had befallen them, do you?
Of course I didn't want to believe it. But more importantly, I just realized something else. There was another bizarre connection that Rena made between Oyashiro-sama's curse and metal bats. Sadashi fell victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse and went missing. I recently learned that Sadashi had become infatuated with the metal bat right before he disappeared, just like me. And Rena as well. She was affected by Oyashiro-sama's curse and she confessed that much to the doctor. And the weapon which she had used at that time, that horrendous act, was again a metal bat.
Maybe Oyashiro-sama just likes metal bats.
And finally, me.
Just saying.
Oyashiro-sama's a big fan of
He's
Little
a big
Busters.
fan, I was gonna say. Perfect.
And finally me. I'd encountered various things that were inexplicable and now I was holding onto a metal bat. I was shocked when I learned that Sadashi had did the same thing, and it couldn't be. The same thing happened to Rena. But there's one critical difference between her and Sadashi's case. That being Sadashi went missing after falling victim to the curse. But Rena was still here. Both of them had fallen victim to Oyashiro-sama's curse, but they were met with different endings. And finally me. I couldn't call it a coincidence anymore. Rena, Sadashi, and finally me. Could it be that I really was under Oyashiro-sama's curse right now? No, more importantly than that, what should I do now? Sadashi had been demoned away, vanishing without trace. Rena was fine. Fine? Rena had undergone a change. I can only believe there was something that wasn't Rena residing within her. And here right now, standing before me.
Cut back. Yes, perfect. Transition!
Rena, please tell me. What will happen to me? Rena stood imposingly, not answering. Sadashi disappeared, but Rena didn't disappear. So what will happen to me? I'd never heard such an unpleasant laugh before. It had become akin to the sound of her breathing. It was no longer a voice or an expression of feeling.
Don't worry, I'll save you.
Rena took one step forward, still holding the axe high above her head.
Now then,
One step closer, Rena's face spread out to fill my vision.
speak.
One step closer. Rena's nose was close enough to touch mine and was still pushing closer.
There's something you want to say, isn't there? I'll listen. I'll save you, okay? Speak, okay? Speak, okay?
I slumped down, landing squarely on my butt. It wasn't for some pathetic reason. It was all I could do to get as far away from Rena. I had the gut feeling that I couldn't let her laughter end, because when that laughter ended... The moment I picked up on that feeling, my body moved by instinct. I sprang to my feet so fast I couldn't even believe it and pushed Rena away with both hands. Rena was as light as a feather. Thrown about by the unbalanced weight of the axe, she was sent backwards as if she had been carried off by the wind. After confirming that out of the corner of my eye, I dashed off at full speed. I was the perfect picture of fleeing like a greased pig. Get away from Rena. Run away. Survive. I couldn't think of anything other than this. While I was running, I remembered I'd been holding onto a bat the entire time. Such a worthless weapon. I couldn't believe I'd forgotten about this weapon at such an important time. I sped even farther down the winding path. Didn't even feel myself gasping for breath or my legs getting heavy. My body understood it as well. If I didn't run away from here, I wouldn't live. I could hear the laughter of that simulacrum of Rena coming from behind me. It rang through the trees and in my head and slowly chiseled away at my sanity. The grove of trees thinned out and my field of vision suddenly expanding. Where was this? For a moment I was bewildered by the scenery. I felt I knew but couldn't quite remember. I quickly realized it was the dam site.
Oh shit.
The fact I dashed madly and ended up in a place like this gave me a bad feeling. It was like I was following someone's scripted plot. Stares at camera.
He's becoming aware. Ah, get him!
Also, I love the whole thing where Rena's like, I want to go get some more stuff out of the treasure pile, and Keiichi gets there and he's like, how did I end up here?
He ends up at the treasure pile. Yeah.
It's almost like they were walking there together and this was all going on in his head.
Had a good view of my surroundings, but I didn't see a single soul here.
That is no cut that.
This was a terrible spot for someone on the run, but there was no better place for an attacker. I'm glad they will have no idea what that was about.
Good.
My heart was already on the verge of bursting. The muscles in my legs were screaming, but I didn't care.
Oh boy.
If I stopped here, then they might be able to hear me scream for much longer. Even still, I glanced back, looking for an excuse to rest. Rena wasn't there. Instead, I saw two villagers walking around.
Yeah.
I breathed a sigh of relief that it wasn't Rena, but a third party. Except the voice inside me rang the alarm once again. Villagers walking around weren't suspicious in and of themselves, but it bothered me. They both wore rough-looking clothes. Empty-handed, they definitely gave the impression they were just out for a walk. But at this time of day, two adults wandering around without a purpose was enough to raise questions. But more than anything else, those eyes. They weren't chit-chatting while walking, they were both silently heading forwards, looking in my direction. Was I at the end of my rope and had finally started imagining things?
Yes, Keiichi, you have.
I should run away. That was probably the best choice. If they weren't involved, I'd lose them easily by running. If they were part of the group after me, then they would come running after me. Either way, unless I hurried up, Rena would catch up with me. That's right, I was going to run. Deciding that, the moment I began to turn tail, both of them rushed towards me as if they knew exactly what I was thinking.
Oh boy.
Somewhere inside me, I jumped onto the conclusion that Rena was the only thing I needed to be afraid of. I made the assumption I didn't need to fear anything else, but right now I realized just how blatantly wrong I was. Suddenly, the story of Oishi-san told me about the demons all leaving the village to hunt prey floated back through my mind. I could tell they were both coming after me without even turning around because of their frenetic footsteps. It was frightening, being unable to shake Rena off as she slowly closed in on me, but this didn't even compare. Being pursued with such violent ferocity, the straightforward horror was unparalleled. One of the pursuer's arms grazed my shoulder. Now it wasn't just their frenzied footsteps, but also the distinct sound of their breathing I could hear. I could practically feel them breathing on me. They're already right behind me. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Still running at full tilt, I felt the surrounding air go still. Now it felt like time itself had stopped. I turned my head back slightly and then that frozen world, realizing how close my pursuers had gotten to me. I couldn't win against the legs of an adult. In less than time it would take to blink twice. When this frozen time began moving again, they'd be right on top of me. On top of me, and then... Don't think about that, Keiichi. First realized you wouldn't be able to shake them off like this. If the fact that you can't get away was a given, then you'd need to make a decision. Go with the right leg or go with the left, just need to decide which one. Let's go with the left. The moment I decided that, the temporal singularity burst into pieces. Right, left. I swung the bat in a wide arc with my right arm. Using that inertia, I stopped and suddenly spun. What? The two of them were clearly startled. Momentarily losing sight of me, both of them outstretched arms ready to grab me, instead grasped at an empty space. The man on the right. I applauded him being able to figure it out. Spun around to the spot I shouldn't have been and faced me in astonishment, but it was too late. I didn't even need to swing my bat. All I needed to do was extend my arms as I turned around.
Oh boy.
It was by no means a heavy blow, but it seemed like it had enough power behind it to knock him off his feet. Just knocking him down wasn't enough to scare him away. He got back up in no time.
Tenacious bugger.
Both of them took a frightening stance and were ready to face me. This made me certain they weren't just two people out for a walk. They were clearly after me. It felt much easier than dealing with Rena. Just by not recognizing their faces, by not knowing them, it made things easier. I smiled wryly on the inside. What do you want with me? Next one's gonna be right in your face, you bastard. It's fine if it was I can't. I'm killing my throat.
You gotta do it!
It's just if it was fine if it was just a bluff.
For the
By barking
kids.
out at them, I was able to fire myself
You
up.
gotta do it for the kids.
They didn't respond. They spread it out to either side of them with me, unbelievably calm expressions on their faces. One of them would grab onto my bat and the other would hold me down. Was that their plan? Taking on both of them at once would be impossible. Our sweat poured out from every pore in my body, and I'd just have to settle with it the first move. I'd step in and strike the first one down.
Just spin in circles. That'll work.
Narrowing my target down to the man on the right, who had already been knocked down before, I stepped in and swung with all my might. There was no way for an unarmed person to guard against it. It would cause immense damage. If they blocked it with their arm, their bone would snap like a twig. If they turned their back to it, then it was possible that the blow would travel all the way up to their vital organs. Looked like he was aware of this. He pushed farther through the kill zone between us and delivered a right fist into my gut.
Pow!
Not good with this distance, in this position, in this state. There was no way for me to dodge it.
See, kapow, I told you.
The world flipped upside down. I understood that I was being tossed around like a rag doll. I landed on the soft earth without a sound, feeling the grainy soil press against my face. Didn't hurt at all. But the moment I thought that, I suddenly felt pain coming from the abrasions on my skin as the contents of my stomach being forced upwards, flooding my mouth with a bitter sensation. I knew very well that I didn't have the time to relish this experience. Relish is not the word I would use for this.
Yeah, it's not fun. I mean, he's not having a good time of it, dare I say.
That's shocking. You're telling me he's not having a good time of beating up strangers?
I don't think he's enjoying himself. As fun as it is to hit people in the face with baseball bats.
I stood up as quickly as I could, but at that moment the other man was already barreling towards me. Being able to comprehend calmly that I simply couldn't dodge it made it all the more upsetting. After plowing into my stomach full force once again, my assailant twisted around behind me and locked his thick arm around my neck. My throat felt like it was being crushed by his immense strength. I couldn't even contemplate that I was being strangled, that I was about to go unconscious.
Oh boy.
My vision simply darkened and a silent whining noise began playing deep inside my mind. It took everything I had to keep myself from blacking out. While this was happening, the other man was more than likely standing in front of me. I wasn't able to open my eyes, but I could feel that he was there. There was nothing I could do now. Unable to shake this arm off me, I couldn't run. I couldn't fight back. Dire straits. I couldn't even come up with the phrase that adequately described my situation.
Well, that was fun.
That was great.
Yeah, had a good time. I'm in slightly less pain right now, because at least he's beating up strangers. It's a good time.
It's gone black. What's happened?
It's nothing, it's fine.
What's going on?
He's going into cardiac arrest.
Nothing's happening, Ben.
It's okay.
Oh my god, he's in his house.
Hey, we're in the house.
What
Woo!
the fuck?
The safest place in the world.
What the fuck is just happened? Oh no.
We're fine. We're just hanging out.
Oh no.
Don't say oh no, nothing is wrong. It's fine. He's just chilling. How'd he get here? Doesn't matter.
Oh boy, this is the part where we walk outside and Ryukishi plays the sound, isn't it?
A familiar ceiling. The smell of the bed and pillows, I knew them well. Was this my room? Normally there wouldn't be anyone in my room besides me, but their presence made me spring wide awake. When I did that, a pain shot through my entire body.
Feeling alright? I think you better just lie down for a bit.
Why was Rena in my room? Blood began to surge through my muscles and my capillaries. But Rena's smile belonged to the Rena I knew well. I knew I shouldn't let myself feel this way, but I relaxed, thinking this version of Rena was safe. Why am I...
Don't you remember?
After losing consciousness, nothing at all. My body had become more lethargic than I could have ever imagined. I guess I would be expected to the outcome after exerting everything I had back there. I tried to at least clear my head, but I couldn't shake the sluggish feeling out of my mind.
I called the doctor. He should be here soon. I think you better just lie down until then.
Oh my god, that entire last scene didn't even happen at all.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It definitely didn't happen.
What did he, what's even real, Ben?
I don't know, do you think that maybe she would spend multiple hours on entire scenes that never actually happened?
Oh, they happened, Ben, but... But, you see, the thing is, Ben... is that because he was like, oh, after I lost consciousness, we're never gonna find out where it was he lost consciousness.
Sure. Oh, boy.
But it's gonna be relevant. It's gonna be relevant.
I'm sure it is. Sure it is.
I wasn't injured seriously enough to merit calling a doctor, but knowing that someone impartial was coming was slightly reassuring. Why am I here? I'm sure I was at the dam site.
That's what I want to know. What happened? When I got there, Keiichi was already passed out.
That's why I'm the one who wants to know. I was attacked by two weirdos. As I talked about it, I finally remembered what happened right before I passed out. Recalling that memory and the terror that went along with it caused the fogginess around my head to clear up right. Clear right up, I believe. Yes, right up.
Close enough.
Let's forget about those two for now. I didn't expect Rena to be nursing me.
That's fine.
Though Rena was trying to kill me.
No, definitely not.
She would have had the perfect chance while I was unconscious. Not only she'd not kill me, she'd nurse me back to health. Amazing you could drag me all the way back here. Wasn't I heavy? Looking at Rena's delicate frame, it was hard to believe that she had not only gotten me back home, but even dragged me all the way up to the second floor. Did she have some help?
Oh, don't you remember, Keiichi-kun?
Rena appeared a bit surprised, but still kept her smile.
I only propped you up on my shoulder. You said you could walk on your own and that you were fine. You don't remember.
I didn't remember. My memory was fuzzy after the point where I lost consciousness. That does tend to be what a loss of consciousness does to a person. What about those two?
Huh?
When you got there, Rena, the ones with me are those two guys.
Oh, there wasn't anyone.
She said it bluntly. The way she stated it felt slightly unpleasant. I was just too timid at the time. Might have been able to force some answers out of Rena. But if I did that, then this kind Rena might transform into the scary Rena who I didn't know. Fearing that, I didn't press any further. Thinking about it, it was the obvious choice. If both of those men were there, I don't think Rena would have even stood a chance. I couldn't find a way to explain it unless I assumed she brought me here after those two were already gone. Rena was still smiling. Her eyes sparkled warmly. Yet, I felt like I was hallucinating when I saw something akin to a shadow slowly creeping across her face. That small omen sent shivers down my spine. While Rena was still Rena, I needed to make contact. I needed to contact Uishi-san. Rena stopped me while I tried to get out of bed. She said it would aggravate my wounds, so I should sleep. I'd like to go to the bathroom, though.
Sorry.
Rena couldn't say anything else. While Rena stayed in the room, I quickly went downstairs to get the phone receiver in the living room. When I approached the front door, the doorbell rang ding-dong. Must have been the doctor Rena had called. Here he goes. He's stressed again. He's leaning away. He's clutching his hands together. It was strange for a patient to welcome in the doctor who was making a house call, but it would be incredibly reassuring to have him here for a considerable time it would take Uishi-san to get here. I carelessly opened the door with that simple assumption and regretted it almost instantly.
It's fine. It's just Mion.
Mion.
Oh, you look just fine. I heard you'd collapsed, so I came to check up on you.
How did you know I collapsed?
I heard from Rena over the phone. Do I need any other reason than that?
I understood why she would call a doctor, but why Mion too? Rena was descending the stairs behind me.
Rena, doesn't Kei-chan look pretty alright? She made me worry for nothing.
Well, that's true. Maybe I worry for nothing as well.
They both began laughing. It appeared to be cheerful laughter, but I couldn't shake the feeling there was a darkness looming over them.
Whoa, what's up with this shoe rack? How did it get like this?
Shoe rack that I'd smashed to pieces had been like that since yesterday. I fell, you see, and the bat I was holding at the time slammed into it.
This is what happens when you swing around something you're not used to handling.
I kept the fact that it was none of her business to myself.
But leaving it like this will sour your pants when they get home. I'll fix it up for you later.
I can't wait for her to bring a hammer and nails. That'll go great.
Don't talk to me about hammers and nails.
Now come on, Kei-chan. The terminally ill need their rest. Come back in bed. Terminally ill. Poor choice of words, Leon.
No.
Poor choice of words.
Oh, it's fine.
Both of them urged me up the stairs. I had no chance to call Oishi-san.
Oh, it's fine.
I was pushed into my bed. This was the first time Mion had been in my room. She began searching around it intently. She filled around my room and was scolded by Rena. You can imagine how it went. It was uncomfortable having my room poked around, but the conversation was so benign that it was heartwarming. During that innocent conversation, Mion said something as though it was perfectly ordinary.
Rena, did you call the manager?
Yep, right after I called Mi-chan. He said he'd be right over.
Manager? That out-of-place word gave me a bad feeling. Rena called a doctor, then called Mion, and after that she called a manager? Who was this manager? Since Rena and Mion's conversation was so peaceful, it only felt slightly odd. What are you two talking about? Who's this manager?
Didn't you know, Kei-chan? We mean the manager when we say manager.
Like the director of a movie, or like a foreman of a construction site.
How many poor choices of words can you dream up?
I'm screaming. I'm literally screaming.
I dug through all my memories for a manager who might have had business with me. Only one thing came to mind. What Rena had just said, the construction site foreman. The very first victim of the first incident, the dismembered the damn construction site, the foreman. But that was strange. He was supposed to be dead. There's no way they could call him. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. What does that manager have to do with me? You said he was coming. Do you mean to my house? I asked one obvious question after another, but all the two of them did was smile coolly at each other. There was a huge difference between how the two of them appeared and how my suspicions were playing out. Slowly, I felt discomfort and panic welling up inside me.
I feel you.
I couldn't understand what Rena and Mion were talking about.
Kei-chan, you've gotten into baseball lately, haven't you? Pretty sure the manager will be happy to hear that.
So who is this manager?
The manager's the manager.
So who is this manager?
This is fine.
Rena and Mion looked at each other and laughed haughtily. A disturbing cackle unpleasantly resounded around me. The laugh, long enough to be unsettling, ended abruptly.
Oh yeah, we should finish up before the manager comes. You remember, don't you, Kei-chan?
Her face was laughing, but Mion's eyes told a different story. Remember what?
Keiichi-kun, has he forgotten, I wonder, about the penalty? About the penalty?
Did you really forget the homework with Mochi? The homework where you were supposed to guess which one Rena made? You forgot about that homework, didn't you?
I certainly did have that homework. I'd thrown away the rest of the mochi after I found that sewing needle, so I wasn't able to answer which one Rena made. The penalty for that. Why now? No doubt my question was written all over my face. Their answer to my question was only that dry laughter. I could no longer make heads or tails or anything. I began to think this entire day was somehow insane. Somehow. Strange. Incomprehensible. Being chased by Rena. Attacked by strange men. The penalty Mion and Rena were talking about. What were these two laughing at? It didn't take long for me to realize I'd been dragged into an abnormal situation.
Yes, baseball. Terribly abnormal.
Who were these two? Who were these people? Who were these doppelgangers of Rena and Mion?
Oh boy.
Rena had gotten behind me at some point. Why was she pinning my arms behind my back? What are you doing?
Don't move. This is your penalty.
My body was already very sluggish, and Rena pinning my arms made it that much harder to move. I seriously tried to struggle, but she wouldn't even budge. My panic began to well up, and I realized this was well beyond the realm of jokes and pleasantries. This freakishly monstrous strength, it would have been impossible for the Rena I knew. And these thin, frail arms grasping me firmly, whose arms were they?
Kei-chan, no struggling. Club rules, there are no exceptions. You can't fight against the penalty.
Mion, no. That thing that looked like Mion spoke to me like how Mion would speak to me. But I was certain this was not Mion. Someone who wasn't Mion, someone who was just pretending to be Mion.
Need to finish this up before the manager comes.
Mion fished in her pockets and pulled out something bizarre. I could tell what it was just by looking, but for such a thing to be in her pocket, my mind wouldn't accept it.
Oh boy, what is it?
What is that? It was a small syringe. It's a small, clear syringe like what a doctor would use when you went to him when you were sick. Rena held me even tighter. I could hear that clattering laughter that no longer sounded like laughter blaring into my ear. That eerie laughter wasn't something that the Rena I knew could ever produce from her own throat. This thing that was pretending to be Rena was this their real laugh? Unable to defend myself, the syringe Mion was holding drew closer. That needle tip was waved in front of my face countless times. Don't worry, it won't hurt, it won't hurt. What are you planning on doing? What kind of sick joke is this?
What are you saying, Kei-chan? You know exactly what's going on, don't you? Oh, poor choice of words.
About what? I don't understand any of this at all.
I know you know, no use playing the fool this late in the game.
Stop talking nonsense and trying to confuse me.
You going to have done to you what happened to Tomitaki-san?
Flash.
It's so perfect.
I don't want to be.
It's so beautiful.
I don't want to be here.
Because of course they're just drawing on him because that's what they did to Tomitaki. And that's the standard club penalty.
I could hit the confronto on anything.
But, this is so good.
What? Same as Tomitaki-san.
Flash.
I didn't really understand what she meant. What did that have to do with the syringe?
You're playing dumb, Kei-chan. Should have realized,
1 point. 1 point to Ryukishi.
1 point to
He
Ryukishi.
deserves it. You're playing dumb, Keiichi-kun. You should have realized it by now.
I was so excited.
You could not have stolen it, even said it's Rena. You monster. I know you're excited, but he gets 1 point for that.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
This is why we can't get excited. We have to be
I know,
lethargic.
it's, I'm so...
Anyway, get the mood back going.
having so much fun.
I know you are.
Rena whispered into my ear, laughing as if to
Fucking
admonish
monster.
me.
Incredible.
Yeah, I'm the monster here.
Yeah.
Not these two.
But even the way she spoke was repulsive beyond compare. Playing dumb. Me? About what? What do you mean the same as Tomitaki-san? Flash.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. This is it's a Oishi.
Okay.
It's a flashback. Everyone thought at first that it was a hit and run. Except when the officer got closer to check if he was still alive, he soon noticed it wasn't a normal situation. His throat was scratched out.
From a knife or something?
No. Nails.
Nails. Nails as in fingernails. Those gouged through. That's right. Tomitaki-san had clawed out his own throat with his own nails and died. There's no way someone could die like that. So then for that to happen...
We thought drugs were to blame, but nothing of that nature was detected.
That's right. The police didn't find any drugs in Tomitaki-san's system. The police told me they didn't find any drugs in Tomitaki-san's body.
Flash.
Those noises.
Where? That's their laugh,
I
apparently.
guess it is.
That's awful.
The two of them laughed together with that sickening laughter. Of course they'd laugh. To assume such a medicine didn't exist just because the police didn't know about it was completely foolish.
Oh
Meaning
boy.
the drug that caused Tomitaki-san to die in such a bizarre manner did exist.
Flash.
If Mion injected this into me, then that would probably be all the proof I needed. It would basically mean I'd end up the same as Tomitaki-san. Become hysterical, scratching out my throat in my last moments, then die. For such an outrageous drug to exist. For Mion to be holding it. And I was about to be injected with it. At that moment, I didn't feel there was any need whatsoever to question it. What kind of idiot, when he's trying to dodge a ball flying straight for his face, has time to think of a reason as to why it's flying at him?
Just give up. All right then.
Mion's actions lacked any gravitas, and that made it even more terrifying. There was none of the ceremony like when someone is sentenced to death. There was no hesitation at all, as if she were brushing her teeth. Mion reached out with one hand and grabbed onto my chest. I felt like electricity had gone through the back of my head and the entire world had gone dark. Did I stand up too fast, or did someone hit me really hard in the back of the head? Having lost my sense of balance, I was assaulted by a wave of dizziness.
What is happening?
I don't want to be here. I want out.
This is only Arc 1!
I know.
Oh my god, he ended
Yeah.
it there!
Yeah, of course he
He
did.
ended it
Well,
there!
we have only one more chapter left, I think.
Oh my god!
So that's fun.
We're doing it!
All
Let's
right.
go!